Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Katie Snow, and today I have an exciting treat to share with you guys. We are going to be making Beet Bliss Balls. And so these are a yummy treat. They are made with beetroot powder, and beets, just first of all, beets are an amazing vegetable. They're a root vegetable. They're full of phytonutrients, beautiful color, and they help with a lot of health conditions. So anything from poor circulation, low endurance with exercise. Beets are just one of those wonderful vegetables that we should incorporate into our diet as much as possible. But for many of you who can't, won't, and don't get enough beets in their diet, that is why we have created Red Beet Powder. It's a Dr. Eric Snow supplement that we have created, and we are going to make a treat today using our Red Beet Powder that you'll be able to get your kids to enjoy. You'll bring it to parties and be able to share a healthy recipe. So let's get started. So first, we are going to use the Red Beet Powder, and it's going to be 2 tablespoons. So get a nice rich color. I have a few of them made already so you can see right here. It almost has a dark brown color to it, a cocoa color, but it's a real deep burgundy color. So we're getting a full serving of beets in this recipe that you'll have over, it'll actually make 8 or 9 balls depending on the size that you make them. The second ingredient that we're going to use is almond meal or almond flour. And so that calls in this recipe for 1/2 cup. Then the next ingredient that we're going to use, and again, whenever you can buy organic, I'm always looking for organic ingredients, but I don't make a fuss over it. If I don't find organic in the grocery store, I buy the natural or the best, healthiest form that has at least added ingredients into it. But when I can find organic, like this is organic coconut flour, I definitely make that my first choice. So the coconut flour, that is 1/4 cup. And I'm putting all this in a food processor. So this recipe is super simple because we're basically just putting all the ingredients in the food processor, and then we're going to turn it on and blend it up, and then we're just going to take the balls and roll them into about a 2-inch ball. Roll them into the coconut shavings and then put them on a plate. So the next one is the unsweetened coconut flakes, and that's what I've already put into the bowl, so that once we finish forming the dough, we just roll the balls into the coconut flakes. So the next ingredient is coconut oil, and this is going to be a tablespoon. And I'm a little more generous with the coconut oil. I'm actually doing a little more because I like to make sure that the balls stay together. And then we have chia seeds. So chia seeds are an excellent source of fiber, so they'll actually swell up a little bit as we're blending it in with the oil. And so these have a nice, not crunch to them, but a nice little squish whenever you're chewing the Beet Bliss balls. And so this is going to be a tablespoon as well. So those are chia seeds. And then the last ingredient are these medjool dates. And so you'll just watch, you can find these organic, and that's how I like to buy them. But you want to make sure if you buy them and they are not pitted that you take the pits out. You don't want the pits to be put into the food processor because they'll crunch into bits and then you can't really get the pits out. You'll have to throw the whole recipe away. So just make sure that they are pitted, and if not, all you have to do is take the pits. And I always just check to make sure there wasn't any remaining pieces of pits. But basically it's 1/2 cup of the pitted dates that we're going to put in this recipe. So all you have to do is kind of break open the date, and just check and make sure there's not any fragments of pits in there. And so 1/2 cup's usually about 4 dates. And I know some people that are watching this video, they may say, hey, I want to make this a keto Beet Bliss ball, and you totally can do that. So what I would do to substitute the dates, to take some of the sugar out of this recipe, is to add 1 more tablespoon of the coconut oil, and then I would add 2 tablespoons of almond butter. And so that'll give it that same consistency. And then to replace the sweetness, you can just add a couple, maybe 2 or 3 drops of stevia liquid into the food processor. And that way you have the sweetness and you have the same texture, yet you haven't used as much sweetener in there. So I know a lot of people want to be conscious of the amount of sugar that they're enjoying, and especially if they're going to be sharing this with other people that are watching the sugar amounts. Again, this recipe is great for kids. They'll definitely eat this. Our son likes these. He calls them protein balls, energy balls. But all right, let's go ahead and blend them up. And so you'll want to have a spatula just so you can, after a couple times that you mix it and blend it, that you can take down some of the ingredients on the sides. So just take a spatula and push it down. Oh, and it smells delicious. This food processor is a Cuisinart 14 cup food processor. I know some people have smaller ones. In this recipe, one recipe of this makes 8 or 9 balls like you see on this plate right here. So if you want it to double or triple this recipe, you can totally do that with equal amounts of the ingredients, just multiplying times 2 or 3. So you'd probably want the 14 cup food processor. But if you're just going to be making one recipe, then a small food processor would work just fine. Okay, so now that we have, it's really quick and easy to make this recipe, but once we have it, you take the top off. And then one trick, if you want to make sure if the recipe, the balls are sticking to your hands, all you have to do is get a little bit of water on your hands. And so that'll make sure that they're not sticking to your hands, the recipe. But look at the beautiful burgundy color. And then we just take and make about a 2-inch ball. And then you just roll it into the coconut. And again, if some people don't like coconut, that's fine. You can use another oil. If someone has a coconut allergy, you can use another oil. You could use MCT oil in this recipe. It'll work just fine. And then if you didn't want to use the coconut shreds on top, I know some people don't care for the coconut shavings, the texture on the outside. You could chip up pecans, put it in a bowl like this, and just roll the ball after you form it. Just roll it into chopped up pecans. So, but that's it. It's super simple to make, super easy. This was great for holiday parties, family get-togethers, and just being able to bring a nice healthy treat, but also another way for you to get your beets in. So a lot of people, again, they won't have beets in their diet on a regular, consistent basis. Beets are super important, super healthy. So this is just a quick and easy recipe for you to be able to get the beets into your diet. I'm Dr. Katie Snow, helping you to transform your health naturally.